And since the establishment of our formal diplomatic ties between the two countries in 1994, our relationship has grown tremendously. We were able to go to the heads of mission, which is having its meeting now, and express our satisfaction, to my great delight, the very strong economic relations that we have with the United Arab Emirates. And the United Arab Emirates has become a leading partner for us in the Gulf region. Similarly, more than 130 South African companies operate in your country, Your Highness, in areas related to construction, to hospitality, consultancy, and service sectors, to mention but a few. And at this point, I'd like to indicate to you, Your Highness, that a few years ago, I, as a Minister of Housing, discovered that most of my construction companies were missing in action. And I followed them to where I was informed they were. I found them in Dubai. I begged them to come home, and they only laughed at me. They just laughed at me because they were enjoying themselves and they were putting up spectacular hotels, and we didn't have the opportunity of competing with you. Now that you're here, Minister, I'm hoping that you can give some of those companies back to us so that we can have the same kind of construction going on in South Africa. But they did take flight at a particular time to go and work in the United Arab Emirates. South Africa sees the United Arab Emirates as a lucrative market to promote the export of our agricultural products, our agro-processed and manufactured goods, as well as defense procurement. The excellent air links that exist between our two countries and our relative proximity should lead to increased economic and trade cooperation. This, of course, takes place on the back of a very sound people-to-people relationship which we have established and precipitated by a visa-related reform which we have discussed. We are hoping that by the end of this year we will have a no visa requirement for people who come from the United Arab Emirates to this country. I am therefore delighted that the second session of the Joint Commission between South Africa and the United Arab Emirates is finally taking place under the auspices of the Year of Mandela Zayed Centenary celebrations. I'm wearing I am wearing His Highness Zayed's portrait, and I'm hoping that all my team too is doing that. And I want to wish you a happy centenary, and it is quite fortuitous that both leaders would be celebrating their centenary this year. Welcome at a very appropriate time indeed for us. And I'd like to declare this session open and ask you, Your Highness, to give your word of encouragement to our teams that have been working very hard, and we hope that by the time we've had engagement with them, we can consolidate and raise our bilateral relations to an even higher level. Your Highness, with these brief remarks, let me reiterate that I'm very honored that you and the UAE delegation is here, and I look forward to very fruitful discussions today. And my promise to you is the next time you come here, none of your team will require any visas.
Minister Sisulu, first of all, very grateful for your kind words and your enthusiasm in further enhancing the relationship between the UAE and South Africa. I was quite surprised to realize that my last visit to South Africa was 8 years ago. I believe since the visit of His Excellency President to the UAE recently, I see a lot of good vibes in our relationship, and I'm quite honored to come quite soon after a successful state visit. Your Excellency, I look forward that this relationship will continue to grow in the year of Mandela and Sheikh Zayed. It's quite telling that when we walked in, seeing the late President Mandela and the late Sheikh Zayed being so warm towards each other, I was quite honored to be present in a couple of those meetings, and I've seen personally the warmth between such two great leaders, and I hope that we could build on that in enhancing a broader relationship which has been established since '94. It has been improving in the right direction. There is a lot we could do more, especially in the areas of trade. I see good indications of further enhancing trade in the last year. Our trade has crossed $3.2 billion on both sides. In terms of aviation, numbers of UAE national flights has reached 63 flights a week. I'm sure that they would like to have even more access to South Africa, Minister. I mean, just for the record, I have to say that that's a request. I mean, especially if we are going to have a waiver to our passports for both countries, that will certainly affect our aviation to pick up further. But Your Excellency, this is a relationship which could move further, especially in the areas that of concern to us. We think that the broader services and infrastructure is quite promising, and when I say services, it's quite clear that tourism is a huge market to explore further in South Africa. And when I talk about infrastructure, I mainly talk about energy, and here I talk about renewables. We've been very proud in seeing the UAE growing interest throughout the world in renewables. I would like to see a growing partnership with South Africa on that. Your Excellency, Africa as a whole is becoming more important for the UAE, and we see South Africa as the catalyst for this great continent, and I hope that we can use our bilateral relationship to further enhance our relationship throughout Africa. We will count on you, Your Excellency, in doing so. Finally, Your Excellency, I have to use such an opportunity to thank you personally, and thank your ministry and all your departments in South Africa for hosting us today, for having a very strong outcome of the Joint Commission, and in laying the ground for even a better outcome down the road. Your Excellency, let me also thank our colleagues who've both worked very strongly and hardly to get us to a good outcome. Mohammed Sharaf, thank you. And our colleagues from your Foreign Ministry. Your Excellency, I am grateful for you once again, and I hope I'll see you soon in the UAE.
Certainly. Thank you very much, Your Highness. I thought perhaps now we would just have a brief overview of the documents that we are about to sign.
Members of the South African and United Arab Emirates delegation, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, welcome this morning to the press briefing and signing ceremony. We will now commence with the official proceedings of the signing ceremony of the official documents between the Republic of South Africa and the United Arab Emirates. I have the honor to invite the Honorable Minister of Social Development of the Republic of South Africa, Ms. Susan Shabangu, and His Highness, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the United Arab Emirates, His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, to come forth and sign the Memorandum of Understanding between the Government of the Republic of South Africa and the Government of the United Arab Emirates on cooperation in the field of social development. Your Excellency, Ministers. Thank you very much, Ministers. Thank you very much. May I kindly request His Highness to remain seated for the signing of the next document. Thank you very much, Minister Shabangu. May I now invite the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of the Republic of South Africa, Her Excellency Ms. Lindiwe Sisulu, to join the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the United Arab Emirates, His Excellency, His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed, to sign the joint communique. Thank you very much, Your Excellencies.
The President and I visited the United Arab Emirates a few months ago, and since then we have found that our relations have grown from strength to strength. Today, His Highness has come to South Africa to sign the second joint commission between the Republic of South Africa and the United Arab Emirates, and it is signed today on the 22nd of October 2018. The Joint Commission was convened in accordance with the agreement on the establishment of the Joint Commission between the Department of International Relations, ourselves, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation in the United Arab Emirates, which was signed in November 14, 2011. The commission was co-chaired then by the Ministers of International Relations, and it is now co-chaired by the Minister of International Relations again of South Africa and the United Arab Emirates, His Highness. The Joint Commission was preceded by senior officials from both countries coming together. It was chaired by Professor Anil Suklal, the Deputy Director General for Asia, Middle East, from the Department of International Affairs in Relations in South Africa, and His Excellency Mohammed Sharaf, Assistant Minister for Economic and Trade Affairs. The subcommittees of the Joint Commission that participated in the officials' meeting were on Subcommittee on Economic, Trade and Investment Cooperation. Subcommittee number 2 was Political, Defense and Security and Interior. And the third one was Subcommittee on Transportation. The fourth was Subcommittee on Food Security. And the fifth one was Subcommittee on Science, Technology, Social Development, Tourism, Arts and Culture. We look forward to signing the rest of the agreements that would have come out of Subcommittee 5 before the end of the year. The second session of the Joint Committee took place in a year when the two countries celebrate the year of Mandela Zayed, in a tribute to the two founding icons of South Africa and the United Arab Emirates, who were both born in 1918. The two statesmen not only shared a special bond of friendship between them, but also shared remarkable characteristics: their spiritualism, their vision, their determination and hard work, their generosity at home and abroad, and the way in which they related to other human beings with respect and granting them their rights. They devoted their entire lives to the service of their people and the creation of a better world for all. The United Arab Emirates and South Africa and the South African delegation also included officials from the technical departments, which had separate meetings with their respective counterparts over the weekend. Before the commencement of the Joint Commission, Sheikh Abdullah Nahan was received by myself, and we had a tete-a-tete. And we also took the opportunity to go and wish the heads of mission well in their deliberations. We've had discussion around the tete-a-tete, and we would like to indicate to you that following the UAE's announcement of a 10 billion injection of projects in development and infrastructure to South Africa during President Cyril Ramaphosa's visit to the UAE for the creation of a joint investment fund, we, the two ministers, also express our satisfaction at the progress that has been made during the visit of the South African Joint Technical Team to the United Arab Emirates in October with regard to the establishment of a joint investment fund. We as ministers furthermore discussed issues of mutual concern, and some of them we will keep between ourselves, except that His Highness is very pleased with the progress that we have made as a country. The last time he came here was during the preparations for the Soccer World Cup, and now he has seen a great deal of improvement, which is a boost to us and our infrastructure development. Your Highness, I hope you will allow me to end there. Unless there are any matters that will be asked by the media, I will then hand over to you for your own remarks on the deliberations of our Joint Commission.
Minister Sisulu, I'm very delighted to be in South Africa, and you've been very kind in hosting us today. I believe you've made a great readout of the day. The relationship between South Africa and the UAE has been growing rapidly. I'm very excited to be back again, as my colleague said, after 8 years. It's clear that there is a lot we could do together This is a relationship which started back in '94 and has been growing since. Last year showed a 29% growth in our bilateral relationship, up to $3.9 billion. This is a relationship which we believe can further be enhanced and grow forward because of how open both markets are. South Africa into the continent and the UAE into the Middle East and the subcontinent. It's quite useful where we can work together and explore our capacities in our respective regions. Your Excellency, last year also showed an 80,000 South Africans coming and visiting the UAE. That's a number which we hope will continue to grow, especially when we can finalize the visa waiver between our two countries. But also we are very delighted to see 20,000 of your citizens consider the UAE as second home. I wish them all the very best, and I hope that their experience in the UAE is useful. Your Excellency, 2020 would be a wonderful year to host many of our partners around the world in Expo Dubai 2020. We are very excited that South Africa has very ambitious and clear plans to be there in a very strong manner. We will do everything we can to make South Africa to have a very strong presence in Dubai. Your Excellency, finally, I would also like to say that this is a very diverse relationship. Politically, economically, but also in the area of culture. There is a lot of interest in our country to work with all our partners in diversifying our relationship. And that's an area where I would very much like to see more focus and more energy to be given in the social areas, as we just had signed today with the respectful Minister of Social Affairs today, but in the cultural areas where we are supposed to finalize an agreement quite soon this year. Your Excellency, thank you for your support, your friendship, and the UAE will be a strong partner, and we think that the 10 billion investment in South Africa can only be the beginning of much more. Thank you.